else?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. If you can be seated, we get this meeting going. I'd like to call this meeting at 4:06. Once again, due to those of you that are online, due to a flight delay, the remaining group just arrived, so we will get going. All right, you have to read it. All right, so at this time, if you would please stand so we can do the pledge of allegiance. So over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation.
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, Tim, go to number 3.
Pam Leslie,
Here.
Rollins Stallworth,
Here.
Linda Cavazza,
Here.
Greg Malkovich,
Here.
Jay Henry, police virtual,
Here.
Paula McNaught,
Here.
Christina Rocket,
Here.
Wade Wilson,
Present.
Deanna Riddle, Graham Swenson, Alex Wilde,
Here.
Keith Whitman,
Here.
Dennis Holmes,
Here.
David Vick, Sean Fitzsimons,
Here.
Jason Odegaard, Tammy Hayden, Bob Levitt,
Here.
Domingo Rivera,
Here.
Dave Henneman,
Here.
Alan Townsend, is virtual,
Here.
Xavier Antiem,
Here.
Alex Minos, Dexter Wallace, Paula Williams, Cindy Jackson,
Present.
Paul Anderson,
Here.
Bart Davis,
Here.
Kate Scott here, and myself, T Wonder.
Is Brian online?
Yeah, check the air again. She was there. Momentarily.
Okay, now go to item number 4, announcements. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Jackson.
First of all, thank you everyone for being here so quickly. I want to take real quick and thank everybody for being flexible and getting in today. Afterwards, obviously, we have dinner sandwiches for everybody. We'll be back at the airport in time for your flight. The staff will take it back to the airport. Thank you to the staff for picking everyone up. We got back from Indian Springs in a timely manner. Real quick, one other announcement. It's not pertaining to today's message. Tonight around 7 o'clock, you'll get an email from me with a memo attached to it. Please take a look at it, read it carefully. If you have any questions, feel free to call me tonight. It's nothing you need to worry about. It's just something I want to bring into your attention. But just read it, and if you have questions, let me know. We'll be good there. And with that, I think that's all there is right now. Oh, also, you will see Mr. Davis sitting over there right now. He will be doing your courtesy card electronically while we are in this room. So you will be getting some information from him as we go forward. And I'm gonna turn it over to Bart real quick.
Yeah, thank you. Our voting members of the board should have already received an email from me explaining this process. Liaisons, yours will be coming shortly. Let's get to voting members today because I've got that list of information. It's a little bit of a complex process, but in that email, it also walks you through. Thank you.
He gotten rid of the paper cards and his laminated cards and the mailing. They're electronic now using our partner, Hometown Ticketing. Good,
Member Sorensen is just entering the room.
there we
Thank
go.
you. Would this be the time to ask about others? With this card, will a email be disseminated?
We will disseminate more information for regular staff and schools. There's more coming. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a video that's been produced that'll go walk them through it as well.
Later?
Yep.
Thank you.
We don't have any games till the 17th, so
It's like tomorrow. I'll work.
yes, it takes 2 minutes to get your card. Okay. Sorry, technology.
The others I'm worried about. All right, now we'll go to number 5, public comments. This time provides an opportunity for citizens to address the board about any matters not on the agenda. Items raised during the portion of the agenda cannot be deliberated or acted upon until the notice of procedures of the open meeting law has been complied with. Should a member of the public wish to speak on a matter not listed on the agenda, it is asked that said person please complete a yellow public comment card and submit it to the president before the opening of the item. We limit it 3 minutes per person or 5 minutes for the spokesperson of a particular group may be imposed. It is requested that comments be directed to the board as a whole. Comments to be determined to be irrelevant, repetitious, offensive, inflammatory, willfully disruptive, or deemed to be personal attacks will not be permitted. I have 3 individuals. The first one from Pinecrest Sloan, Jeremy.
No.
We're gonna do this one?
Yes.
Okay,
Virtual thing.
Virtual.
sorry, Jeremy. All right. Jonah Haas. Las Vegas Desert Dogs.
Mr. Haas, if you're online, if you would unmute.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Good.
Hi, everyone, and thank you to the board. Thank you, Tim. We're really excited for this as we look to fully sanction lacrosse. I just want to let you all know that we're here to support to whatever extent we can. We are also currently exploring the funding structure and economic structure, and the ability to gain donations through corporate dollars and nonprofits to help assist with emerging programs that desire to have a program. So more to come on that from the Desert Dogs and Joe Side Sports. But just want to let you know that we're here to support, we're here to help, and in conjunction with us, USA Lacrosse, whatever we can do to provide assistance, we're here to do. So thank you, and looking forward to the chat.
Thank you. All right, Jeremy. Jeremy Siebert, is that right?
Yes.
President, just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Are these all public comments related to the agenda? Yeah, do it. Aren't we in the public on the non-agenda items?
Technically, yeah.
We are, but I mean, if they want to take off the comment now, they can do that or do it during the agenda.
Good job.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Terry Seaver, so I'm a teacher at Pinecrest, Sloan, Virginia, and the director for Pirates Lacrosse. Was involved early on in March with this alongside the Desert Dogs champion Senate bill. But, we'll get into obviously all that went on there, but thrilled that lacrosse sanctioned the state of Nevada. I'm originally from Baltimore, operated lacrosse, and have been involved with lacrosse in Southern California. It's kind of went through sanctioning process there for the playoffs. I was working coaching middle description, played in Colorado professionally and see the growth across there. So we've had a program here for about 6 years. We're just here to support all the resources and just help guide this in the right direction so that get off to a good start with lacrosse and that. I'd be more thrilled to hear and so thank you very much.
Thank you. Nathan Peterson?
Yep, I'm alongside Jeremy. I've been with a program at Pinecrest before. There was anything but dirt on that property, and I can tell you that for the 5.5 or so years that we've had 6 kids stand in the line. So again, just to kind of echo what Jeremy said, echo what Jonah said. You know, I was joking with Mr. Jackson beforehand about like running a youth lacrosse program. Like sometimes you got the politics of the parents. I never thought it would ever turn into like having to get before the state legislature and all that. Like we got to where we are. I just want you guys to know that I can say this confidently for every night. We've got connections of the state. Got a pretty good pulse on the valley here. And we're here to help. I'm gonna stay but I'll probably stay in the entirety of this. If there's anybody that wants to ask any questions out me. So I'll thank you guys again. Thanks for the work.
Thank you. All right, we will now go to item number 6. The approval of the agenda for the August 4, 2025 NIAA Emergency Board Control meeting. Yes, wait.
To approve the flexible agenda.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. We have a first and second. Do we have any questions? Dan is right here, Dan. Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Do we have any questions, comments? Hearing none. I'm gonna wait for Dan to get settled. It's just the agenda vote for this one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any of- Jay, are you online?
Yeah,
I heard, Brianne.
that was
Got
Okay,
Jake, give the thumbs up for the yay vote. Got it.
okay,
Thank you.
the ayes have it, that passes. Let me give Deanne a second to get started. Yeah, you did, okay, all right, we are now going to go to item number 7. Action item, this is the NIAA section of Boys and Girls Lacrosse, starting 2026-27. For possible action, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you all for taking the time here. If you look in your packet, first, I'll start out with how we ended up here. As you're fully aware, during the legislative session, the Senate Bill 305 was presented to prospective members of the Education and Assembly and Senate. We had some concerns with that bill. We worked diligently on addendums and modifications to it, simply for the timeline, the cost, the ability to meet what they had put into the bill. As the bill moves forward through the process, through the assembly, through the committee meetings, we worked to change the language, amend the bill, and add what we thought was a bill where if it was going to pass, we would have at least 3 years to prepare it. One of the things that came out of that bill, before that bill was passed, was the fact that we did not have sanctioning process for any sport that was regulatory. We do now have that in place. So when this new sport becomes forward, we'll be able to put that into place and we can work our way through it. The bill made it through the session onto the floor, was voted and it was passed, but it was amended prior to going into that last vote. And in that amendment, there were some additions made to it that included the creation of a, back to better term, I would call it a new secondary board of oversight by the Senate and Assembly. That board would then be appointed through the education committees of both the Senate and the Assembly, and they would have oversight of financial, oversight of regulation, oversight of operation. They would have oversight of a lot of different aspects of the NIAA. It had nothing to do with lacrosse. It had to do with how we operated and how we did business on a daily basis. At that point, it was not looking good for the NIAA. There was a serious concern that that board would be able to come in, and if we made any decisions as a staff, or if you made any decisions as the board, and they did not approve or want those, they would have the ability to come back and review those. Everything was on the table, and it was not looking like something we wanted to have happen. However, we did not think we were going to have any opportunity as it went to the governor's desk for signature, and we were waiting. Thursday prior to the end of the session. So it was a Thursday prior to the end of the session, which was the next Friday for the governor to sign the bills. We were notified that there was a potential compromise being offered. That compromise came through a channel, and Mr. Anderson shared the information with me, got me in contact with the individual, and that the for lack of better terms, the step moving forward was this. If the NIAA would sanction the bill, or I'm sorry, sanction lacrosse for start in 26-27, the bill would be vetoed. If we did not, the bill would be passed and that part would be included in there. There was potential for that. There was a decision had to be made. It was not something I could go public with. It was not something I could share out. It was one of those things where you have to make a decision. And I look at it and I weigh all the options. And to me, there were 2 options. 1, sanction lacrosse. 2, have lacrosse sanctioned and have another board or another entity or another body oversight of this board. And my concern at that point would be within 6 months to a year, this board would no longer exist. The NIAA would not exist in this manner. It was not something I shared out. I do not tell you that I shared out with anyone. No one on staff shared with. I had to make a decision. I made that decision. And I don't regret that decision. I stand by that decision. And at that time, I said we would do this. And that's why we're sitting here. That was part of that agreement was we would sanction lacrosse. which I will be honest, we were never against sanctioning a sport. We were against the timeline of it having put forth to us. Paul, have I missed anything?
No, I can add some items. Well, just the biggest issue was this committee that was placed in here at the last minute by the sponsors of the bill. It was basically entitled the Subcommittee on Interscholastic Activities of the Joint Interms and Committee on Education. And it was going to consist of 2 members of the Senate, who are members of the Joint Interim Standing Committee of Education, 2 members of the Assembly, who are also members of that same committee, 1 member who is an elected member of the Board of Trustees of a school district within the state. So any school district, 1 member that's a Board of Trustee, 1 member who's a superintendent, so 1 superintendent of the 17 that we have, like 16 charters, and 1 member who is the parent or legal guardian of a pupil who participates in interscholastic sports. And that is what the governor's office was upset with, because of basically it goes on at length as to what their powers were and what they'd be able to do. And as Tim said, it was questionable as to, you know, the power that they were taking. The governor didn't like the way that was handled at all. And in his veto specifically stated that, you know, and said that he supported lacrosse 100%. But that's why he was vetoing the bill. And so when the contact was made with us, it was made clear that, look, if the NIAA will agree to go forward with sanctioning of lacrosse for the 2026-2027 school year, the governor's going to veto the bill. It was unlikely that he would do so if there was any indication by the NIAA that we wouldn't get that on. And the bottom line was the bill that passed, lacrosse was going to be sanctioned in 2026-2027 anyway. So the question became, does the NIAA as it exists now do it on its terms, or do we reject the offer from the governor's office and let the subcommittee come in and lacrosse would still be sanctioned? So that's kind of where things sit.
So I made a decision. I stand by that decision 100%. If there are any fallout or ramifications of that decision, I accept them fully. I will not say that somebody else told me to do it. I told no one else. And I continue to say that it was in the betterment of kids and this board that we did this. Because if not, the NIAA would not function in the state it is right now. We would not be the same. So that's where we are with that. I would see something now and say, are there any questions of any board member that you would like to answer moving forward with this?
Welcome to politics.
Okay, any questions? No. Okay. So with that pack, you also have what we are putting forward as a part of this approval, a potential timeline over the next 2 years, not 2 years, actually about 18 months, how we will move forward. This is a live document. Nothing is written in stone. I met with the gentleman today briefly. I told them to look at it. If they have any suggestions on things we're missing, let us know. We've actually added some things to this with where we're moving a few other things. We will release an initial FAQ that actually 2 of them. One explains what lacrosse sanctioning means. The other one explains what lacrosse means, like what it looks like. So if you will take a look, let's take a look first at sanctioning, the one that said NIAA sanctions lacrosse. There has been a lot of phone calls about what lacrosse sanctioning really means. So what we're trying to do is alleviate any concerns. First of all, sanctioning is that approval by the authorization body, you guys, for high school athletic competitions, tournaments, meets involving member schools in Nevada and other schools that are in other states. What is the difference between a club team and a sanctioned team? Club teams play club sports. Sanctioned teams play sanctioned. We have no jurisdiction over club at all. And club teams cannot play sanctioned teams, and sanctioned teams cannot play club teams. With one exception in another state. California. California recently has allowed club teams to play their sanctioned lacrosse team because they do not have enough teams. Well, what they do is they reach out to our office and they say, I made eye contact with you, and go, sorry. If Gorman has a club lacrosse team, all I have to do is certify that they're only Gorman kids playing on that club team, and then Gorman can go play in a club tournament in California. Have I done it before? Yeah, I did it for Gorman, did it for faith. But that's the difference there. Club events are independent of the NIAA. Athletes compete for private or community teams under club set rules, and enrollment and eligibility requirements do not apply to club teams. I can go to Clark High School, I can play for any club team I so choose. If I have a sanctioned sport, I cannot. I play for my high school team if they offer it. Why does it matter? We are a part of the NFHS. Yes, please.
I do have a question about what you just said.
Mhm.
If Clark High School does not have lacrosse, someone from Cimarron played for Clark High School.
No,
Okay,
they cannot. They would have to attend Clark if they were a sanctioned team.
okay.
All of our eligibility and residency rules would still apply. And they would have to be attending here on an approved variance of some sort, or enrolled or eligible, just like in any other sport. So if Cimarron Memorial does not offer lacrosse, Cimarron students cannot come and play at Clark High.
So student athletes that want to play lacrosse, go through the eligibility process of transferring to the school that possibly is playing lacrosse, and they do go through the eligibility process.
Yes, all of our normal regulations say this.
Okay.
This is no different than if we had, for football, for basketball, for baseball. Does my school have to offer lacrosse as a sport? No, they do not. Matter of fact, there is not one school in the state of Nevada that offers every sanctioned sport. Not one. We don't ski in the south. We don't play boys volleyball in the north. We don't play flag football in the north. We don't bowl in the north. We have small schools that only offer 6 to 8 sports. Nobody offers all sports. So that's not any different there. Can our NIAA sanctioned lacrosse team play any other lacrosse team? No. You can only play other sanctioned teams that are members of the CFI, Utah High School Athletic Association, NIAA, or a state association. You can't go to a club tournament, play in a club tournament as Durango High School lacrosse team. If they're identified as a sanctioned team, they cannot play in those. And can our school only participate as a club team? Absolutely. No one has to offer sanctioned lacrosse. We have sanctioned it. The school can decide to do it, or the district, whichever the case may be. And what happens if our NIA sanctioned team plays a club team? You would face the same ramifications as a basketball team playing a club team. There are stipulations, regulations, and violations have outcomes. These documents are going to be put online, and we will update them with new questions and new answers as we progress through this. Now, moving on to the next one. Who can play lacrosse? The NIA will be sanctioning boys and girls lacrosse as 2 separate sports, and all NIA member schools have the option to participate in lacrosse, but no member school is required to offer lacrosse. You do not have to offer it. That's no different than any other sport. We are going to play lacrosse in the spring. Full of reasons there. One, field access in the fall. We're already stacked on our fields in the fall. Boys and girls soccer, football, it's too crowded. Second thing, California and Utah are in the spring. We believe there's going to be a lot of interstate activity and tournaments between them. We might as well line up with them. Makes sense for us. And we didn't want to go in the winter because, my goodness, if Lake Tahoe's playing, we may get up there for a game, but we may not get home, or they may not be able to get out of Tahoe to come out and play. So the winter was not an option at that point. And we wanted it to be statewide availability. We are going to follow the 18-2 for team matches, 18 regular season matches, 2 tournaments. You can trade in 1 free games for a third tournament like we have in the past by regulation. Who is eligible to play? This goes right to you, Wade. All student athletes competing in lacrosse must be included on our school's activated roster. You got to be cleared at your school. What rules are we using? There are a lot of different lacrosse rules. I just learned there's 6-man lacrosse tonight. I did not know that. We are going to be competing using NFH rules, which is a requirement of being an NFHS member, which means we will be playing 10-man lacrosse. What equipment do we need? Whatever is the standard equipment that is NFHS rule book details, the standard will follow those. Who officiates the game? This is where we are in conversations right now with official screws. We sanction official bodies to sanction them to provide officials. SOA in the south and multiple organizations in the north. There are two organizations, one in the south, one in the north, that provide officials. We have been in contact with Vince Kristosik, the NIAA or SNOA. He's talking to them. They're already mostly SNOA members. Going to try and roll them in. Then we don't have to do anything because we sanction SNOA. They move forward. They don't roll in. They will go through the same process that SNOA does. They provide us our documents, their constitution, their membership requirements. All things go into it, and we'll sanction that body to provide officials. And we'll do the same thing with the Northern organization. Alan is coordinating that already, and we're starting to get those things into place. And will there be a postseason state championship? A couple of years back, the board had approved removing the requirement that there be a set number of teams for state championship, which is how we did football. We're going to follow that same regulation. Once we find out how many number of teams are playing within Nevada, the postseason format will be established and presented to the board for approval. So if we have 8 teams in the state, we may have an 8-team state tournament. If we only have 3 teams in the state, we may just do a regional final until we build it to a higher level. But all of those will be brought to the board on the timeline for you to approve, just like you state format for any other sport. Any questions about the FAQs?
Yes.
Follow up, thank you, Manager. So if I heard correctly, Tim said it would be a 10-man roster.
Yeah, team, yeah. Yeah. And we're using the universal field. So there is a difference between the girls' field and the boys' field, but there is one that they're allowed to use the same field. So we're gonna follow those rules, and those are NFHS approved rules. We've already been in conversation with the NFHS about making sure the rule books are available. They will be, and we're gonna get them out as soon as this is finalized, if it's finalized. So the last thing is the timeline that we currently have in place that we will post. Today, obviously August, we're meeting to officially sanction lacrosse for 26-27. We'll release the FAQ and release the NIAA timeline. Really very quick timeline. Apparently, I said it twice. So it's the NIAA's NIAA timeline. At the September board, we are going to bring back to you a workshop for regulations for lacrosse for approval or revision. What we are doing is we're finding the regulations that most mirror. We're not recreating the wheel. We're recreating normal regulations that we have in place for other sports. Game limits, seasonal choices, postseason, all regulations where lacrosse will then be placed into them, much like we did with flag football and girls wrestling. And then we will then release an FAQ on sanctioning that is updated after the September meeting if there's anything that needs to be changed. January, I think updated that, my calendar is updated already. January for the board of control meeting, we will update you and provide you another update so that we know where we're at, and we'll have some conversations there. In March, we're going to release a survey to schools for participation in 26-27, much like we do with membership. What sports are you planning on participating in next year? So that we can see, we'll gather participation data, school participation by geographic regions, and figure out what we're looking at. We'll order rule books and case books from the NFHS, which we do every year for all sports. That's something new, we're just adding them in. And we will have the meetings with the officials organizations taking place at that time so that we figure out exactly what we have to do for the April board meeting with regard to the sanctioning process of our official associations. We'll share the survey results in April with the Board of Control. The fee structure will be presented to the Board of Control. We're going to go with the 3 official format, much like they have recommended through the NFHS. So that will be an addendum to our current contract with the official associations, but we'll add that fee structure in there, and we'll provide alignment postseason formats for you to review and take a look at and eventually approve. If you don't, we will actually bring those back in June. In June, the order of the state regional trophies and medals will be put in with Ingram's. We have already brought them up to speed that this is potential. They're fine. They understand that it's another piece of that order. Once again, thank you again for the price that they provided us. We'll be able to handle that. And then in November, we will then finalize the spring schedules for lacrosse. on the same timeline as every other sport that we do already right now. And in February, we'll officially start the inaugural NIAA lacrosse season, starting with all spring sports like we do for baseball, softball, and boys volleyball, and track, swimming, and diving. Questions about timeline? Yes, sir.
Not region four, so on the timeline, just what, do we know how many schools have the physical capacity to do lacrosse? As far as like lines of fields?
Lines on the field, we'll use the lines that exist, we believe, on the unified field. We're getting those from the NFHS. I have not seen the unified field lines yet. If not, we will send that out to schools so that's the part of the survey.
That's the question.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, if we could just include that in the survey.
You got it.
They're like the different color lines, like on the football field essentially, which I know for a fact Cimarron doesn't have.
Right. Nobody does.
Yeah, so
Nobody does.
is there an opportunity, so what, I guess that's another just question here, what can we do with that?
Couple of
Can we
things.
play with that?
One, we can use existing lines on the field if they work. Secondly, we can actually get the templates for them to be temporarily put on the fields. That there's a paint that they can use on the turf that will not impact the field. And we're gonna work with the NFHS to say, listen, we're under restriction here. If we need a waiver for the field dimension, can we get that? And I'm sure they're gonna work with it. They know where we're at with this.
So it can be played on a standard football field.
I believe it can, yes. There's no indication that it can't, and I guess got the nod right there that it can be. So we're gonna continue. That's why we're gonna make sure our connection with this organization is to grow, because we're building the airplane in the air. That's what we're doing.
You know, I would also like to, I don't know if this is an FAQ, bring it to the board, just another addendum to the information, but if you could outline the equipment, the uniform requirement, field dimension, anything and everything that goes into this board.
Yep.
That would be extremely beneficial, because I know there's, uniforms are different for the boys and girls. Face masks, things like that, so, yeah, anything like that would be extremely beneficial, because that would also help schools that have to do the financial side of it in the planning. Thank you.
Make sure I had it right. Equipment, field dimensions, uniforms.
Forms, except for.
Okay, how about anything that costs money? I'll like that. I'm advising, council, anything that costs money.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
Yes,
Okay.
The timeline on that is that, what is the for? Black County, because our budget for Washoe County is usually sometime around April.
That's why we have the March for you.
If we can have it by that.
How about if I get that for you for the January board meeting?
That would
Maybe even September if I can try.
the sooner the better.
Okay.
yeah, because there's.
That's safe for all public schools.
Yeah.
They don't have to have very much to play with. They're all private.
Any other questions on this?
Yes,
Couple general comments. I think, I want to start by saying I am not at all opposed to the sanctioning of the sport. The more opportunities for kids, the better, right? I think that's like super important. I do struggle a little with the procedure here, right? And my concern about like, it is the board's authority to sanction a sport, right? Not necessarily the executive director in a memo to the state. And so I think that is like just a concern I have, like looking long-term of our precedent we're setting here in saying that like in the moment that the executive director determines the urgency, we can make decisions that exert the power of the board of control. And so it's just a general comment. It doesn't necessarily need like feedback on, but I think it's just something for us to consider. It doesn't really sound like there's much of an option here. Again, not opposed to the sanction of lacrosse. But I wonder just like what else we can determine to be an emergency and then therefore make the determination. So I just think it's something for us to consider. I would also love to see the same expeditious sanctioning of cheer to take place that's happening for lacrosse. I think that would be, I would like to see that coming in the future, perhaps in September. Because I do think that, like, again, if this is the direction we're going, more opportunities for kids. Let's sanction more sports. But again, not opposed to the sanction of the process.
Rollins, oh,
Rollins board member. I think that process that took place was unprecedented, and we've never seen that before. I do think that if, I don't want to get into a situation where we are in the process of just all of a sudden sanctioning everything under the moon because we have a couple of parents and a couple of kids wanting to play a sanctioned game of ping pong. And I'm not using that as anything detrimental to the lacrosse people and their organization. I think the reality though here is that what we should learn from this is that we have a legislature that might do this again. And we better have a procedure and a process in which we could handle this. And we do. I think that needs to be reviewed in some capacity because I understand your concern, but the reality here is that there was a timeline and a deadline that had to be done. And to get this kind of group together, even today is a perfect example, it's pretty difficult to try to do that. So with that being said, I really don't think this is the time we start bringing up badminton and some other sports to do the same thing as we're doing for lacrosse. I think we have a process in place now.
Yeah, this will occur. Okay, Keith,
And I don't think Rollins, he's doing it because we talked about cheer for now, what, a year now we've been talking, so I don't think Colin's now saying, I'm just bringing up sports to bring up sports. We've put the work in the board to do it the right way.
Yes.
And I don't want to see, first of all, I would say, I don't want to see now that we're sanctioning this, everyone goes, well, we just sanctioned the cross.
Yes.
We're gonna take our process, everyone's gonna back off, always put the work into it. I think that's right for those kids who've participated, if we did go forward with cheer, do that. I think that's right, I think that's the point Colin's trying to make, right? I could see people now in September, going, well, wait a second, just supposed to do lacrosse now. We're gonna back off on what we were working on as a board. Now, again, I can't imagine the pressure put on Tim in this particular, on Mr. Jackson in this particular situation. I don't like being hamstrung and be told to do something. I love lacrosse. I've heard the East Coast. I don't have anything against lacrosse. My school has a lacrosse club lacrosse team, right? So I'm all in. I think it's great for kids. To Tom's point, the more opportunity we give for kids, the better. When middle school sports came in, I was the pain in the butt that made that happen. And we'll tell you,
that is true.
she hates I drove her nuts about middle school sport because I had more opportunities. I'm from way of sports all the way down. You played all sports in middle school, and I think it's great for kids. So I reiterate the point that I don't like being. It feels like our authority was usurped here, which I think it was. Again, not necessarily by Tim. I think Tim was put in the spot where he had to make a decision that and I'm going to give Mr. Jackson, apologies, Mr. Jackson. I don't like it going that way. I think we had discussed the process a few months back. I'm not opposed to lacrosse, so this has nothing to do with lacrosse. I just don't like the way that it played out. I don't want it to change the way that we do business and the business that we were already planning on potentially doing going forward. That's what I don't want to see happen. Someone bring up in September, hey, well, this thing happened now. We got to back off on what our plans were. That'd be my. Thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Wait,
Yeah, we both on Region 3. I appreciate what Colin brought up now, what is an emergency, what's not an emergency. In this instance, in my belief, the way I look at it is we have given our executive director to make decisions that legislation comes forth to give testimony in committees, to be able to make decisions legislatively that is best and in the best interest of the NIAA. And so I believe because this was a legislative matter, it did go to the governor's office. The bill has been passed. He was asked a question. That's a legislative matter that I think we already gave the authority to make, in my opinion, because we have given him license to make decisions when it comes to the legislature. So I appreciate what Colin's bringing up, and that's not a bad idea, saying what's emergency, what's not emergency. In my belief, we already had given him the authority to act in the NIAA when it came to legislative matters. So I'm okay with the decision he made. Whatever decision he made at that time, I would have backed him because I already, in my opinion, we already gave him that authority to do that. So just a couple comments, you know, if you go back in time to the wonderful COVID years, I think it was, Sam, you were on the board, Paul was on the board, but I think that was about it. But we passed, the NIAA board passed. It was a resolution basically at that time because of the unknown. And the emergency nature of what was gonna even happen with high school sports. You know, we didn't have them for what, a year, and then sort at them, and then, you know, we had a shortened season, and then we finally got back. But the board gave Donnie Nelson, who was the executive director at the time, or no, it was Bart, I'm sorry, Bart Thompson, the authority to make decisions because of the fact that things were moving so quickly, and there weren't opportunities to have, you know, to bring it to the board. Anyway, he was given authority to make decisions in those situations. And then the board was, the way it worked is it had to be brought back to the board for retroactive approval, basically. You know, I'm not suggesting that we do exactly that again, but I do think that it's a good point made here that there needs to be some understanding by the board or position that the board would take, granting the authority for the executive director to take action when need be. This was an emergency situation, there's no doubt about it, in light of what was at stake, really, in my opinion at least. And if we want to talk about usurping authority of this board, I think that happened when the bill was introduced. I mean, typically, the legislature doesn't tell you to sanction sports. Typically, that's done through a process that we have. And that's probably how it should have been done here, but it wasn't. And so it had to be dealt with. And so those are just my thoughts.
Sorry, just to reiterate, I don't think it was Tim that necessarily usurped. I think that it was that, sorry, I do not believe that it was necessarily Tim who usurped. I think it was usurped by, that's what I was saying. I don't think I was, if I said it,
Yeah.
that I was saying towards you, I was not. I was saying that the board's authority was usurped by that law that was put in place that took away an express power that this board does in its day-to-day duties. That's what I meant by it. So if I came across Tim in any way, shape, or form.
I wasn't implying that.
No, I don't. It did. I apologize.
No problem.
Anybody else? Any other comments? Questions? All right. Hearing none, go ahead, Wade.
I move to approve the sanctioning of boys and girls lacrosse starting 2026-2027 school year.
And for the first, thank you, Greg. We have a second, any comments, questions at this time? Hearing none, we will take it to a roll call.
Okay,
We're saying yay and nay.
yay and nay, okay, people
Thank you.
nice and loud, and if you are on camera, go ahead and unmute yourselves and get, okay? Pamela Snow,
Yay.
Roland Solworth,
Yay.
Greg Malkovich,
Yay.
Linda Cabanas,
Yay.
Jake Kenny,
Yay.
Colin McNaught, Christina Brockett,
Yay.
Wade Wilson,
Aye.
Deanna Riddle,
Yay. There's always one.
Alex Moody,
Yay.
Keith Whitford.
Yay.
Did you get Maria?
I jumped again, sorry about that, Brian Sorensen,
Yay.
yay. There you go.
That motion passes 12-0. Okay,
We'll get started.
all right. Okay. Now we'll go to agenda item number 8, public comment once again. This time provides an opportunity to citizens to address the board about any matters not on the agenda. Items raised during this portion of the agenda cannot be deliberated or acted upon until notice procedures of the open meeting law has been complied with. Should a member of the public wish to speak on a matter not listed on the agenda, it is asked that the said person please include a yellow public comment card and submit it to the president before the opening of the item. A limit of 3 minutes per person and or 5 minutes for the spokesperson of a particular group may be imposed. It is requested that comments be directed to the board as a whole. Comments that are determined to be irrelevant, repetitious, offensive, inflammatory, willfully disruptive, or deemed to be personal attacks will not be permitted. Do we have any part? None? Zero. All right. Hearing none at this time.
No, you can just.
All right,